What is Lendio really about? Are you wasting time with Lendio, or you are actually you have access to one of the best platforms when it comes to business loans today? Let's find out. Is the site legit, or this is just another scam? Don't go anywhere. You're gonna love today's conversation. I guarantee it. Welcome back, folks, to another edition of the Awesome City Kiwi Show. How are you today? I hope you are doing fantastic. I'm doing marvelous, if you were to ask me. If you are doing as great as I am, go grab a cup of coffee or tea or vodka and let's roll. In today's conversation, I want to give you a Lendio business loan review, an in-depth review, and let's start with an overview. So when we talk about Lendio, we're talking about a loan aggregation service. In other words, it is a platform that allows you to apply to its pool of partnered lenders. They have more than 75 lenders, okay, and those lenders have their accompanying loan options. So basically, you have a single platform, a centralized platform, centralized application that allows you to have access to a lot of lenders, okay? And what we love is that the whole idea is that it saves you the trouble of applying to multiple lenders to get your application accepted, okay? So Lendio is not a direct lender. They are a marketplace lender, and they are a legit company, okay? They've been around for many, many years. They have funded many, many businesses. They have funded thousands of businesses, so this is a legit business. And what I want to say here is that we love the fact that Lendio actually can approve you for some loans with a soft pull. This is really great. In other words, you're not risking any hard pull at the business level or at the personal level to qualify for this card, okay? And it's important. And we also love the fact that it's safe to apply for business financing through Lendio. They have a strong marketplace when it comes to data security, when it comes to availability of loans. So if you're looking for business lines of credit, business loans, SBA loans, if you're looking for equipment financing, Lendio has got your back, okay? And what we love is that the business loan amount go from $5,000 to $2 million. Think about it, $5,000 to $2 million. This is just fantastic. Wonderful, okay? And the loan term 1 to 5 years, so you have some flexibility here in terms of managing your liquidity. This is what we want, right? When you're managing your business, you want to have this sort of flexibility in terms of repaying the loan back. So 1 to 5 years is pretty good, and the time to funds as little as 24 hours. Wonderful. If you have all the paperwork, if you have all the information needed, they can fund you within 24 hours, and the interest rate can go as low as 6%. Obviously, the APR will depend upon a constellation of factors, including your credit, yes, including on the business's financial performance. This is important also. But I just want to put it out there that the minimum is 6%, and that you too can qualify for an APR of 6%. Let's talk about the pros and cons. So obviously, yes, we love Lendio. That's for sure. This is one of the top-rated platforms we have reviewed on this show, but nobody's perfect, okay? And this company has certainly a lot of pros, but also a few cons. Let's just go through those, okay? What are the pros here? The borrower qualifications are lower than banks. So if you go to a traditional bank, you might actually have to have a higher, you might meet a higher threshold. But with Lendio, they kind of make the loans accessible to a lot of businesses. And you have multiple types of financing available. You have high borrowing amounts. Think about it, $5,000 to $2 million. This is just fantastic. Even if you qualify for 50 grand or $100,000, that's still good for the business you're trying to run, right? So that's just wonderful. You have long-term financing options available. We're looking at 1 to 5 years. That's a nice tenor here, okay? And applicants can be quickly pre-qualified. In other words, you have a soft pull with no hard inquiry impact. This is really good. And the application process is fast and easy. We love the dashboard. We love the intuitiveness of the platform. Fantastic. And their customer service, helpful. Okay, and when you think about Lendio, I want you to think about also the fact that they have some drawbacks. So rates can be expensive, and funds can take a while to disperse, especially if you don't have the right paperwork. This is really important to really think about, okay? But overall, we just believe that Lendio has a positive reviews. They have a great business model. On Trustpilot, for example, they have over 17,000 reviews with an aggregate rating of 4.7 out of 5. This is really great, and they have they have great testimonials on their YouTube page. This is how you actually determine if a business is legit. When you have independent, objective testimonials on social media, this is just fantastic, because you cannot buy those. You cannot buy reviews, because when the reviews are coming from a real person, everyday people, that you know the company is doing something wonderful. So when we talk about Lendio in terms of overall stellar reviews, we want to focus on customer service. Fantastic. Okay, they are easy to use. They are fast. They actually save you from stress in terms of applying for multiple platforms, and they're easy to qualify for. Okay, but Lendio needs to work on a few things. So Lendio, if you're listening to us right now, you want to work on your delays. If you have a drawn out process where basically you need to understand that to get a loan, sometimes you have to talk to multiple lenders. Okay, don't do the hard credit inquiries also, in terms of because some lenders might do a hard credit inquiry from the get-go, so you want to fix that. And lots of documentation may be required. Let's talk about the services that Lendio offers. Okay, folks, I'm still having a conversation with you about the Lendio platform for business loans. Okay, this is a great platform. It is a business loan marketplace. I want to think about it as a Walmart of business loans. Fantastic. So you want to provide information about yourself and your business, and Lendio will help you find lenders for which you are eligible. Okay, this includes a broad swath of financial products, and they have so the availability of specific products will depend on various factors, such as your credit score, the industry you work in, how long you've been in business, and the amount of revenue you take in, right? Your financial performance, your cash inflows and your cash outflows. This is really important. And additionally, loan terms will vary between Lendio's partner lenders. Remember, this is a platform, and they have more than 75 lending partners. So each lending partner has its own requirements. Okay, but when you go to Lendio, there are basically several services you can find, several funding options, funding services you can actually get. You have short-term loans. Okay, so you have a loan with a term that usually lasts less than a year, and borrowers are charged a flat fee instead of the typical high interest rate, and repayments are made daily or weekly. So this is the kind of loan you might want to get if you are comfortable with your liquidity situation, because this could be disruptive to your cash flows if you are paying every single day. Okay, now you want to think about term loans. So this is your classic loan where borrowers are provided the loan amount in the form of a lump sum in exchange for a promise to repay the amount borrowed plus accumulated interest. So term lengths vary with these loans, and payments are made monthly, weekly, or daily, depending on the lender. Okay, and through Lendio, you can also access merchant cash advances. So the funder purchases a percentage of your future card-based sales in exchange for a lump sum, and the funder collects by withholding a percentage of your daily card-based sales. So for this, you got to sell through credit cards or debit cards. In other words, you need to have electronic sales. If you just sell with cash, you can't qualify for this. Okay, and then you have lines of credit. So instead of giving you a lump sum, the lender establishes a credit limit that you can borrow against, and you can draw on your line of credit repeatedly, so long as the total drawn amount does not exceed your credit limits. And through Lendio, you can also qualify for SBA loans. Okay, so term loans and other products that they're partially guaranteed by the Small Business Administration. So these loans have some favorable properties relative to most other loans with regards to term length, interest rates, and available loan amounts. And you can also go through Lendio to find equipment financing, so loans and leases that are designed to facilitate ownership or rental of tangible assets. Okay, overall, if you want to qualify for this products, these services, please, there is some evidence needed, and the evidence depends on the loan type. It can be resumes, a business plan, a business credit reports, income tax returns, and financial statements, depending on the lender. And financial statements may include a balance sheet, income statement, cash flow statement, and bank statements. Let's talk about eligibility, folks. If we are speaking about Lendio, we want to talk about the Lendio borrower requirements. So you need to have a minimum of 500 in credit score, 2 years in business. I mean, it basically can be 6 months to 2 years in business, depending on the product you're searching for. Okay, and the partner, and they want to have 6 months bank statements. They need you to have a business checking account, because they are going to study the cash inflows and cash outflows through that checking accounts. And one thing you need to understand is that any business can apply for Lendio services. Okay, unfortunately, there is no guarantee that you will receive funding according to Lendio. So according to Lendio, basically, they have done research and they realize that 6 to 7 out of 10 businesses get approved for a business loan through their platform. But again, if you were to ask us, 70%, that's a pretty good passing grade. I mean, that's just wonderful. Okay, and you need to understand that. So they work with a lot of partners, from 75 lenders all the way to 300 different lenders. Okay, and everyone has their own requirements, but overall you want to have that. So 500 credit score, 2 years, 6 months to 2 years in business, 6 months bank statements. They will also ask you for your financial statements. I've said this before. So your 4 financial statements, including your bank statements. So we have your balance sheet, your profit and loss, your income, your statement of cash flows, and your statement of owner's equity. Okay, and so when we talk about Lendio, obviously once you meet those requirements, there are a lot of benefits. This platform comes with a lot of benefits when it comes to business loans, right? So you can free up cash flow. You have quick approval process, any time of loan conceivable, because they have so many entities they're partnering with. Okay, they have a low credit score that is great for folks in that category. You have less work finding funding, and lenders compete for your business instead of you doing the other way around. Okay, to apply, it's very simple, folks. You just need to visit lendio.com and click start application. You provide basic details about your business. All right, you get an approval decision within a few business days, and you get funded the same day or the next day. Obviously, we also love their soft pull feature. In other words, you're not risking anything. You're not risking a hard pull until and unless you decide to go ahead and sign the promissory note and be okay with the loan amounts that you were approved for. When you go through Lendio, there's a lot of things you can do. You can use the loan proceeds for a lot of things. They're very flexible when it comes to that. Okay, and you can use the money, for example, for everyday operations. Okay, so if you want to pay for rent or marketing or payroll, this is really great. There's no problem. There's no restriction, and you can actually get a working capital loan for that. Okay, and you can also use the money for equipment and machinery. Let's say you are a restaurant owner or you are a healthcare provider. If you rely heavily on equipment in your day-to-day flow, operational flow, then you want to actually seek equipment financing, or your business has to deal with seasonality or cyclicality, then you want to have some cash flow to also actually bridge the gap that you may have in your business in the cycle, right? So that you can pay for things in the off season. If you want to do tenant improvements, this is also good. Let's say as a business owner, if you're moving into a commercial space that is essentially a shell, you will most likely be responsible for paying for all or part of the build out. So this is also known as tenant improvements, or TI. So you can use the money that you get from Lendio, from a Lendio partner actually, to do that. You can use the money also to buy inventory. Yeah, because certain businesses such as retailers or specialty food stores rely on the sales of their inventory to generate income. So inventory can range from the latest fashion must-have to butter and eggs for cupcakes. So this is kind of cool. And what we love is that with Lendio, you can even refinance your existing debts. So depending upon the loan amount and the interest rate that you get, you can actually do a debt consolidation or debt refinancing. This is really good also. And you can start a franchise with a loan that you get from Lendio. Okay, so I'm just giving you a non-exhaustive list of things you can do when you get a loan, a business loan from Lendio. You can start a franchise. Okay, you can acquire a business. This is kind of cool too. You can also use the money for expanding your existing business. Anything that really falls within the category of legit business expenses, you can get the money for. You can use the money to even stay competitive. Okay, so let's say you are in an industry that is highly competitive. You have to innovate. You have to advertise either online or offline, and you need extra cash for that. And your day-to-day operations are not generating enough capital for that. You can borrow extra from a Lendio partner to take care of this temporary mismatch in revenue. Okay, I'll be right back right after this. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back, folks, to another session of the Awesome Story Kiwi Show. We're also having a conversation about Lendio, and I want to talk to you about the rates and fees. Okay, so when we talk about rates and fees, one thing we love with Lendio is that they are very transparent. They try to be transparent in terms of the interest that you might expect from their lending partners, the fixed fee, the origination and the administrative fees, the prepayment penalties, and other fees. All right, so they'll explain things to you very clearly from the get-go. And the fees actually depend on the product that you are getting. Okay, so let's say you are trying to get a business line of credit through Lendio. So the credit limit goes from $1,000 to $500,000. The term length 1 to 2 years. Interest rate 8 to 24%. And there is an origination fee that varies by lender. Okay, and those loans are non-secured. Okay, remember when we talk about lines of credit, we are talking about revolving lines of credit. Okay, so this is really, really important. And you also want to think about SBA loans, for example. SBA loans, you are having a borrowing amount that goes from $50,000 to $5 million. Okay, the term length 10 to 30 years. The interest rate depends on the lender, and the origination fee again depends on the lender. You might also be interested in a short-term loan from Lendio. So the borrowing amount $2,500 to $500,000. The term length 1 to 3 years. The interest rate starts at 8%. There is an origination fee that varies by lender. Okay. What about business term loans? Here you have a borrowing amount that goes from $5,000 to $2 million. The term length 1 to 5 years. The interest rate that starts at 6%. The origination fee varies by a lender. Okay. And there might be some cases where you have to post collateral for these loans. What about merchant cash advances? Here you have a borrowing amount that goes from $5,000 to $200,000. The term length up to 2 years. The interest rate that starts at 18%. And the origination fee depends on the funder. And last but not the least, you can also get equipment financing through Lendio. So the borrowing amount $5,000 to $5 million. The term length 1 to 5 years, and the interest rate starts at 7.5%. Okay, and the collateral is usually the equipment being financed. So those are things you need to think about here. Let's finally talk about the application process and some of the things that go around the application process. So one thing you need to understand is that the application process itself is very easy. You go on the platform, you hit apply, you have a soft pull, and then if you're interested to go further, then you fill in some basic information about your business, your contact details, and somebody from Lendio will contact you to request additional information. And one thing that's really important to understand is that Lendio will shop your information around to get offers from the lenders that you may be eligible for, okay? This is really good. And this step should take somewhere between 1 day to 3 days. And once you have the results, Lendio will actually get back to you with any offers received on your behalf. And you can compare offers and choose the one best suited for your business and situation. So when you have made your decision, you'll be able to continue the funding process with your chosen lender. Obviously, Lendio will actually assist you if you have questions, whatever. But what we love is that they are there to support you. We love the fact that they are very transparent in terms of telling you the rates, in terms of explaining how the process works. Okay, so Lendio actually provides all the information you need to know about the service, and the salespeople are similarly transparent. This is really important. And what we have seen, we have done research about this. Customer reviews do not report incidents in which they were surprised by fees or other unexpected policies. Okay, so this is really important. But the only caveat is that you will not know your loan's exact terms until you are paired with a lender. This is what it is. Okay, and one thing I want to say here also is that there are some subtle differences between the types of loan products that you may actually get. So you may need to click through some links to find out all the information available. But the customer service is impeccable. I mean, they have a great customer support. So customer support is available by phone or email. Okay, you can also interact with the company on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and LinkedIn. So this is really great. And so when you apply for the service, you are assigned a funding manager who is your single point of contact, and that manager will bring you offers, help decide which options are the best for your business, educate you on the loan products, and generally be available if you have any questions. So this is really great. Okay, and one thing I need to also say is that they have a great technical support also. They can help you in case you have some technical issues with their platforms. Thank you so much for listening to this review, folks. I was having a conversation with you about Lendio, and I gave you an overview. We talk about the pros and cons, the services they offer, eligibility, the loan uses, rates and fees, and the application process itself. Thank you so much. I will see you next time, but until then, remember, stay marvelous.